Hi, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. So today I'm going to be answering one of the most popular questions I get asked, which is what coins am I personally holding? So what's my ratios of Bitcoins to altcoins, and indeed which altcoins I am currently holding. Now, as always, this is not financial advice. I'm not suggesting you copy these portfolios. This is just my current position as of where are we, February 2020. Now hopefully 2020 will see some decent kind of gains. I think we're now in the early stages of a kind of bull market. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting a massive parabolic swing upwards this year. I think that's not going to come probably until next year. I think basically this year will be a year of sort of slow, steady growth back towards that kind of high of around 20,000, just sub 20,000. And I think once we initially hit that, there might well be a bit of a kind of retracement, and then we retest that and break through. And then after that, I think things are going to get pretty dramatic. But I don't think that's probably going to happen until 2021. I could be wrong, could happen later this year. But I think this year we're going to see a decent trend upwards. I'm predicting we're probably going to end the year somewhere between 15 and 19k, something like that. And then I think probably 2021 is when we test that 20,000 mark, break through it, maybe retrace, break through it again, and then we're going to see that kind of parabolic run up into what I think is probably going to be six figures and more. So anyway, let's jump straight in. I'll talk through the different portfolios. I've got two different portfolios. One's purely investment. We'll start with that, and then there's my older portfolio, which is full of mining coins and stuff like that, which dates back to 2013. So let's start with the investment portfolio. And as you can see here, blue is Bitcoin, very heavily stacked in favor of kind of Bitcoin. No, 92.73% of this is Bitcoin, followed by Ethereum 4.75%, Navcoin 1.2%, and then everything else under 1%. So I've got MCO, which is the original Monaco token. I got that. I was staking that in order to get their crypto-backed debit card. Still hasn't arrived, unfortunately, here in the UK. And then a little bit of Litecoin, sort of 0.5% of Litecoin, and then a tiny amount, quarter of a percent, basically, of others. And that's very small amounts of stuff like kind of Pivx and Metrics, coins that I've holding for various experiments, like the Masternode experiments and staking experiments last year. So you can see here, very heavily staggered towards Bitcoin. I think any portfolio really should be staggered very heavily towards Bitcoin. If you're kind of new to crypto, I'm not saying that everything should be in Bitcoin, but I would have thought probably somewhere in the region of 80%. And then if there are projects that you like and you want to take a punt on, by all means put maybe 5% into 4 different projects or something like that, 4% into 5 different projects that you believe in, and hold those through just like you do with your Bitcoin. But I think any portfolio should be really probably fairly stacked towards Bitcoin. I think although people are now talking about kind of the altcoin kind of run-ups, and we've seen some decent gains for a lot of kind of altcoins, don't forget a lot of these altcoins lost maybe 95% to 99% of their value since the all-time high, far more than Bitcoin. So they do have a lot further to kind of grow before they get back anywhere near their kind of all-time high. So my personal belief is that you should be heavily invested in Bitcoin. This is my investment portfolio. So this is crypto that I've bought through fiat since sort of early 2017, and I've been dollar cost averaging in, continuing through the bear market. I bought quite a bit at the beginning of 2018, and then I've been buying again at the beginning of this year. It's very difficult to kind of time the market. Who knows what's going to happen? And I think if you're holding off, waiting for a really good kind of entry point, you lose sight of the long-term kind of point of this, which is we should be kind of like trying to get an entry point that we're kind of comfortable with. I would recommend dollar cost averaging or pound cost averaging into a Bitcoin. Maybe buy whatever you want to do every week. So set a buy order for it every week, buy a small amount kind of every week, and that way you're going to not just take advantage of kind of like any kind of pullbacks and kind of retracements, but it means that you're not stressing about trying to find that really kind of like great entry point. If we're looking at Bitcoin going up into the 6 figures and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter whether you've bought in at 8,500 or 8,900 or 9,500 or 10,000, or alternatively, obviously a year ago, whether you were buying in at 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000. So in the long term, where we are at the moment, I think still very early days. Anywhere around that kind of 10,000 or kind of under, I think is a decent time to kind of like dollar cost average in. But that's just purely my own personal opinion. It's not financial advice by any means. And then moving on, this is my mining and staking portfolio. Now this looks substantially different excuse me, And the reason is that I started mining cryptocurrencies back in the beginning of 2013. When I started mining Litecoin. You could still GPU mine Litecoin back then. It was just when ASICs were starting to appear for Litecoin, so you had these small grid seed miners and stuff like that. And then when the ASICs came out, for Litecoin, I moved on to Darkcoin, which then became Dash, and I mined Darkcoin quite extensively. I actually kind of cashed out most of my Dash back in the last kind of bull run when it was way over $1,000 but I didn't cash it out for kind of fiat. I moved it into kind of other kind of crypto, so I don't own any Dash anymore. But this does reflect not just some of the kind of early coins that I mined. So we've got stuff like kind of Litecoin, only small amounts of that kind of now in this portfolio, but Ethereum was another coin that I then continued to mine for probably 2 or 3 years. I then started with ASICs. I mined some Bitcoin and some Digibyte. Don't own Digibyte anymore, but I've mined a little bit of Bitcoin, with ASICs kind of over the last kind of year or two, couple of years, but not really doing any of that kind of mining. But this is an earlier kind of portfolio, and it also reflects a lot of the staking kind of masternode stuff that I've been doing over the last kind of year or so. So you can see here, even despite that, we're still 50% basically in Bitcoin, just under 25% in Ethereum. And then we're into some of the smaller coins. So 5.5% in Neo, 4.3 in Stellar, 4.3 in Horizon, just under 4 in Icon, just under 3.5 in Cardano, 1.4 in Litecoin, and then we've got little bits here, 1.2 in XRP. There's less than 1% in energy, and then other makes up just under 2%, 1.83% of other coins, and that's a real mixture of tiny amounts of small kind of cap coins that I've either kind of mined or I've staked or I've done bits and bobs with over the years. Those of you who have followed the channel for a while will know that I have done quite a lot of kind of staking videos, masternode videos and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people thought I was maybe slightly more exposed to kind of altcoins than I actually am. So this portfolio, again, a far more volatile, far more kind of risky portfolio. It is quite heavy in Ethereum, which I do believe in the project. I do think it's a decent project, and I think it will continue to do well. And then we've got some of these smaller projects like kind of Neo and Stellar and Cardano, which hopefully, one or two of those do really big things during the next kind of bull run would really kind of help me out. But still, 50% in kind of Bitcoin, and when we combine that with the 93% almost in Bitcoin in my investment portfolio, I am probably overall somewhere around 75 to 80% in Bitcoin across everything that I kind of own. So I'd say probably 75 to 80%, something like that. Probably 20% or a little bit, 15 to 20% in Ethereum, and then maybe that last sort of 5% odd in various small kind of cap coins. So that's a mixture of stuff that you see here. So Neo, Stellar, Cardano, Horizon, Icon, smaller cap coins like that. So that's what's currently in my portfolio. The difference really, as I mentioned kind of here, is that this is kind of coins that I originally started staking, but then I've swapped between different things, looking for kind of projects that I'm interested in and moving stuff over to staking coins and various bits and pieces. So this would have been almost exclusively Litecoin and kind of Dash back in 2013, and then would have moved gradually more into Ethereum. And then when I sold my kind of Dash, the portfolio changed dramatically. So whenever I'm kind of selling coins, I tend to kind of sell back to kind of Bitcoin. I hold in Bitcoin then. I do buy some additional kind of projects. There are projects that I'm kind of looking at that I quite like, but as a stopgap, I'm always kind of holding back and hoping to increase my kind of stack of kind of sats within Bitcoin. So anyway, that's what I'm currently holding. Investment portfolio, almost all Bitcoin. Mining staking portfolio, which has developed a little bit more piecemeal over time, about half Bitcoin and half alts. Anyway, I hope that helps you. I hope that was interesting. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'm not going to put in obviously kind of figures of what I'm kind of owning, how much crypto I own, and I wouldn't advise anybody else to do that either, but that's just the ratios of what I'm currently kind of holding. So anyway, be interesting to know what you think of those portfolios. Be interesting to know what you're holding, whether you are holding Bitcoin kind of like hodling for the long term, or whether you're now starting to think maybe the alt season is kind of upon us and you're moving slightly into kind of alts, or just holding a load of kind of alts and holding a load of bags from the previous kind of bull cycle. Anyway, thanks very much for watching as always, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.